Hello. Let's do it. Sanctuary is starting. Are we in the right camera? Yeah, we are. Okay, so today's stream will be quite short. I'm still apparently quite sick. Had a quite sleepless night. I just couldn't fall asleep with running thoughts, and then when my running thoughts got better after watching 2 episodes of Buffy, I started to have like crazy cold sweat. And I was hot cold, so I barely slept tonight at all. Crazy. But then, when I finally fell asleep, I had a very lovely dream. So, it is Saturday, 12th December 2025. Okay. And the dream, I will just go from memory. So, in the dream, I just bought a hat for myself. And still had some money left. Oh no. And I thought I compulsively bought another local, another space. Yeah, quite a lot of money in that dream. Rich dreams. Another space underground by an urban station. By an urban station next to a tailor's shop. Next to cute, bright shops. So the place I bought used to be a tiny, a small bar, a small underground bar. You know, in these underground passages where people go out of the urban or like, you know, and they go overground and stuff, and sometimes just go underground for quite a long space, and this was a place like that. And it used to be a small underground bar. I bought it from the original owner lady. Lady. I thought it was a rushed decision before even looking into other options, but then I went to see that place. I went to see that place, and it was so lovely. It actually wasn't really closed. Locked. And there were some Christmas lights inside. There were some Christmas lights inside. There were tables, chairs, wooden bar, bar top. How is this thing called? You know, this place where you put drinks when you serve them and stuff. You know, wooden bar counter maybe. and the most important thing, wait, wooden bar counter and like wood covered back walls, like, you know, in Polish you say this thing, I love this thing, like old grandma's house thing. How is this thing called? You know, walls are covered with like this fake wooden, or maybe even wooden. Damn, what's the word for that? It's such an important word. Boazeria. I think so, boazeria, which I love. But the most important thing was that basically 2 out of like most of the walls, like it was like backed into like the corner, cut in with the tailor shop, but most of the walls were like fully glass from ceiling to bottom. Was that most of the walls facing the walkway and stairs down to the urban station were full glass from the ceiling to the bottom. So it was a kind of cozy sub-dimension within this like underground walkway. I was really happy and I couldn't wait to tell my friends here, especially T, that we now have this place and we must do something pretty cool about it. It felt like a second home, or maybe even like the most primary home. A place where where magics could be woven. And communities built and strangers welcome. Yeah. Place where magics could be woven and communities built and strangers welcome. Yes, it was a really good dream. Yeah. After this really difficult night, such a gift at the end. But okay. Yeah, so this is it with the dream. It was nice. And I would like now to jump straight to the coding stuff. Later I will put behind this also like my kind of like coding from today, where I've been sketching, continuous sketching the note importing functionality for the notes, image importing. Yeah, and so now some other stuff, code. So let's go to here, I think. Yeah, so now there's some important considerations. because the whole thing with the image importing is so complicated because browsers and Sanctuary uses browsers for UI, like these nodes, don't let you just randomly load files from your disk, which makes sense, security. But you need to have these images on your disk, so that then when you start Sanctuary, they will be loaded into your nodes. But the browser cannot do it alone. So that's why there's this whole separate server that we're like running from the Unity and C# and the game level, which will be serving this media folder where your images, videos, and audio files will be stored, serving them to you, and then these will be accessed by your nodes. And since it will be coming from the same origin, as far as I understand, that's how it works here. Let's not dive into it, but browser can now access them since they are locally hosted on your computer by this tiny server that hosts those files just for you, locally. And so we've got to the point where we're copying correctly the selected image into your notebook database. That will be later. The process of getting there will be in the later part, which I will attach here as I'm getting there with code. And maybe that will be the good point, so I will like glue it in here, and what I will now talk about I will cut and put at the end so it makes some sense, more sense in order how it's done. Yeah. So here there will be cut. I would like to jump straight into coding today. It's already 4 p.m. I will do... the coffee is so hot. Fingers. Okay, later, coffee later. Then for now, I would like to make some notes on... because here... I used to have my C# and programming languages in like Unity projects, but I think now it would be nice to have an Obsidian place for that as well. So let's just see. Okay, it works. And here I would like to have some things. No, just on structure. Because I would like to write in the note of what we did yesterday. Let's switch the camera. Did it work? Yeah. That Unity and VS Code. And so here what was interesting was this pattern. Wait, why is it suddenly throwing errors? That didn't throw errors. What is going on? How did that happen? What about the file manager? Where is it? Here. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Because here it's like a burning mess. But that is an interesting structure. And oh, what's happening? Very messy. Very messy. And this is... what's interesting here is await using. So this unstructured maybe will be more... never mind. For the moment, interesting thing is the structure of await using. And this was the suggestion from Rider to do it, and it is interesting because it simply means there's like an async disposable under the hood. So yes, it's possible because I'll open read implements I async dispose. Is a nice crucial piece of information from here. So this allows the to perform time-consuming tasks involving input-output on cleanup without blocking. This is cool. Somehow this is unreadable. Or spacing. Yep. And this we can remove. Okay. So that was one interesting thing. And the other thing that we're supposed to write code for now, here where it's like everything is broken here, so there was this thing like select many. That's a test code. It's test. I'm trying something out. Select many, and here we would have our request coming in, but we would return observable from async copy file. Does that work like that? Yeah, so that's gonna be tricky. Because, yeah, we want this. Yeah, this is I'm not good with this code. I don't... This is very trial and error. But we need select many to like flatten the async task. And then we would like return observable as from async. And that would be copy file with file path and destination. And I don't think it works like that. From async, it takes the task of string. Let's ask Chatty. I'm not sure about this thing. So that was an interesting thing as well. I would like to make note about that. Yeah, that's part of what we've been writing out. Open, read, try, file, create, dispose, async. Wow, this is pretty cool. So, let's draw a weight using lines correspond to. Also, we don't need this space here. So here's file, open, read. Yeah. Interesting. Yes, that's a good comment to remember. It is still a little bit of a black magic to me. Let's just make this will be in general like async stuff, since that's what we're learning now. And this is a nice comment that I would like to keep in mind, but verify it as time goes. Okay. Okay. Why this matters for Unity? It's very informative. Let's write this. Let's write this down. These are very basic stuff, but I really know nothing about async. Working with Unity made me very lazy in that aspect, that you just do it, don't do it unless you really have to. So yeah, but here it really makes sense. Since we're copying the file, it is like an absolute case for this. So what yield means. This is nice. I'm stopping execution. What yield means. This is good to understand the wording, but you're not yielding to some async thread, you're really yielding back to the current synchronization context. I like this because that is confusing for me. Okay, this is cool. Yeah, understood. Let's go. So now this is no, it's no longer copied, so let's copy all that again. And help me this line. What is wrong here? Okay, so I could just make a lambda. This is cool. This is cool. Okay. So here we need lambda function. And not only that, now we need to no, not here. Let's just select again. Yes, it is very cool. Request true, successful, and then file path, which is our because this is source path. Yes, source file path. And this returns file name. Yes. Media file path. For now, this is just file name. But I will probably change that soon. And so we have the save media file response. Great. This is cool. But we would also probably want here again serve on and current yeah. So this is correct if I want to come to Oops. Interesting. Okay. So we will need a separate, like, yeah, X and C. Okay, so so you might want to capture it once on awake method. So in this case this will be fine. So this needs to be a to-do fix with a custom method of observe main. We need to implement this because I'm not using UniRX. So we might want to implement this. Like here. And then just provide it. Okay, so this is a to-do. Something like this. We need to get it and make like a global observable, which will use some singleton and yeah, and provide like the main thread synchronization context. At cancellation when qdisposing is called. So I guess if this is going on to cancel it then serialize requests instead of parallel copies. Add progress reporting per file. This would be interesting, but it's not necessary. This I also don't understand. Wow, these are like... I want to know. Yes, please. I don't understand. Also explain, please. No, this at progress reporting profile. Yes, please, and kind of explain. Please explain. This is all interesting but very confusing. What do you mean, chat team? Right now, yeah, I dispose our subscription. Yeah, exactly, but that keeps running. So, even if the notebook is closing. This is like a rare edge case, but that should be done. So... Okay, concentrate. That's the cancellation token. Okay, it goes here. Wait, what's this city? Ah, here, okay. No, but this code is like weird. Okay, you create new cancellation tokens first, but it's not used anywhere here. So what the hell? Okay, yeah, so this is hallucination. You see, so okay, this is kind of maybe too complicated and there's some hallucination going on. Okay, but that makes more sense. So from async, cancellation token, cool. And we can pass it in here. What do you mean? Does it take that as an argument actually? Can it? No, there's no such overload. It's hallucinating that again. Well... Yeah, of course, that's my method. There's no cancellation token here. Does something like this get a cancellation token? Yeah, it gets a cancellation token. Does that take the cancellation token? No. So you would have to do that, and now this would work. But I don't know if it even makes sense. I just... Okay, it works, but I don't know if it makes sense. Cancellation token is passed to the asynchronous function is tied to the observable sequence subscription that triggered the function's invocation and can be used for best effort cancellation. This is wild. Okay. So what I believe it maybe does, when this is cancelled, this post, then somehow that cancellation token within is called, activated, and then copy to async is interrupted. But does this city make any sense? Okay, this will be research for one day to like learn better. I don't think it does any harm to be here. Oh my god. Yeah. This is magic. Let's leave it at this. What were the other suggestions? I think like maybe let's progress aware method. I'm completely not interested into that. Right? Oh, this is interesting. What if copy succeeds halfway, app crashes, notebook now references and broken file? Oh, this is scary. This could happen. Okay, so first we would be copying the temp file and only this is interesting. Wow, okay. So the idea here is that we first copy the temp file and only on full successful. But then what, we copy this temp file again? I don't understand. Copy the temp for atomically move. So the idea here is that this is basically instantaneous. Yes. This is so complicated. Okay. Just a temp file. Yeah. Yeah, but that's the case. We'll be in the same Okay. So this is another to-do. This is a great idea, but let's not do it now. Okay, so we'll describe it here. So what happens? What happens if the app crashes while a file is being copied? This might result in a half-copied file that is referenced in a node. Incorrectly. It just referenced in a node. Instead, we should copy to a temp file in temp.tmp path in our root data media.tmp. So we would need a new location, but this is a great idea. Okay. And after there, we would move it atomically research what that actually means. But in any case, you would do something like, yeah, synchronous operation. Synchronous operation. Yeah. This is so. From the point of view of other processes and threads, the file switches from not there to wholly there in one indivisible step. This is interesting. But this is like understanding file systems and stuff. I have no understanding of that at all. But this is a very interesting topic. Modern file system and use. Files are referenced by metadata entries. Move within the same file system is a metadata update, not a data copy. So file system does unlink the path, link final path, same to same data blocks. That's why it's extremely fast. Okay, so is it instantaneous? Practically yes. The time is usually measured in microseconds, independent of file size, 10 kilobytes versus 2 gigabytes. Technically, it still involves metadata log, runner write, cache flash. Wow, okay, this is a very interesting situation that I'm dealing with. But we'll have to come back to that. This is, I really want, this is like, this is such an interesting thing. So I would like to copy all that, and with time I will structure this knowledge better. Because I would like to leave this documentation here in the file manager, but it will need to be much better structured. So for now, I'll just this is very messy. Now we won't be able to write it in comments. So I need to have a temporary node here. Obsidian, and we will go to Sanctuary. and we will go feature to do, and that will be handle interrupted file thing situation. Okay, let's make a note of that. Are we recording? Yes, we are. And so let's basically get all that stuff from here. Copy, delete, and put that here. Yeah. Instead, we should copy them file. Item file. Yeah. After copying there, we should move it to move it atomically. Research what it actually means. Okay, so this we will throw out now because we're gonna copy it again from here. From the point of view of other processing, right? Separate switches from not there to there in one indivisible step. I wish I could just save this section instead of copying all of it. Okay. So maybe I could also copy this better with interesting atomic. With this we have microseconds. Wow, mind blown. This is super interesting and absolutely necessary, since now with pictures, okay, no chance, but I also want the nodes to support videos, and then video can be pretty sizable, and then copying is like an actual time, and within that time it's quite likely that a crash can happen. Whoa. Okay. This is important, yeah. Yeah, comes copy plus delete, atomicity is lost. But if it's within our media TMP, so we will create such subdirectory. Wow. This is totally cool. Yeah. Oh, it didn't copy nicely this. Okay, good. Yeah, and we'll have this subdirectory, and then we'll be basically copying that will be already created, and moving file will be also basically renaming it as well, as much as I understand here. This is cool. Okay, we'll have to come back to that. But for now, let's move on. And let's just see where we even are at, okay? So we're getting like save media file response. Let's assume this was successful. And after this, we should potentially have the selected file already copied into our... Yeah, I'm not sure of this whole process here. I might have messed something up and we might be copying into the wrong place. So we really need to check that. That's why this log is here. I want to know where are we copying the... So we need to get back to the basics first here. And... So, this is being awaited in scroll editing state. Yeah. We're waiting for that. And we have this media file path here. Yeah, because here we will need to tell browser. So I just want to see these logs. Is that actually working? What's happening? And then we can also check in the files if it's actually moved there. So big time. Let's see what happens. Let's see how bad it is when we run Sanctuary. Because that's not gonna work. There's definitely something wrong. Because what we would want now, when we use the add image button, we would like to see it copied into the mockup user data folder, media. Okay, difficult but very informative process. This stuff is very interesting. I would love to learn more about like how different like file systems work. So we would like the image that we have copied into here. It should appear here. That's what we want for now. All we want. So we go to the image, to the node, we press add image, we select some image. Okay, something happened. Yeah, I messed up paths, but it's here. It's been copied, it has a generated new name. It's good, okay. It's almost there. That fucking works, this is great, okay. It's just like as I've expected, the paths are a bit... No, it's all okay. I actually wanted to create this subdirectory here. Perfect. No, this is like perfect. yeah. The only thing I wanted, this is great. Okay, so what did it log after that? I wish I need to somehow find, like, tell the browser to be less verbose and to not spam these webpack dev server, like, errors, because they're, like, meaningless in our context. Okay, so this is the full path. This is our file name, which we're logging here. Great. And I'm calling it here media file path and not file name, because I would like this location to be separated by the year. So we will add something here. We will get a year, because I want to since we're doing that with nodes, like if you can see here, they are separated into yearly subfolders, and I would like the same with media files. Yeah. And so here we would have string year equals date time offset, and now year to string, and we would like to combine destination year file name, and that will be our destination path. And instead of returning file name, string media file path will be year this is dirty. We'll ask chat if there is a better way for that file name, and instead we'll be doing that. Okay, we will come back to this amazingly interesting things, but for now, this is okay. If I want media files to be separated into yearly folders. Okay. I don't like when it's doing these two options. Let's see the first one. Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. Oh wait, but it's also a thing about the normalization, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely the case. Okay, so instead it will be, okay, file, extension, file name, then year. This is exactly what we're doing already. And I like this option where we're separating, okay, that's our physical path. Yeah, so we need to make sure that year directory exists. Okay, so let's make separate here. I mean, year can stay together, but here we will do string year path. Equals path combined destination year. Exactly, and then we need to make sure this exists. The year directory. And now our destination path will be combine year directory and file name. Exactly. And this will be a separate thing because that's like physical location and logical path, which will be expected by our frontend. So yeah, and we will do that instead. Wait, we year slash file name. Yeah, exactly, and we'll be returning that physical. Yeah, and that can be logged, that's fine, but that's our destination path. Yeah, and yeah, okay, so this is our situation for now. This is good. But do we want to do these yearly folders? Since user shouldn't be touching these images here anyway, does it make sense? Okay, does it actually make sense to put media? Okay. Yeah, this is for humans. This is like, yeah, the problem is it's more like a vibe for me. It's good to have with nodes. I kind of, well, it's nice to peek into the files. Yeah. Yeah. Let's do it with yearly folders. The first reason. For humans. Yeah, we look at the folder. Even if you're not allowed to touch it, but you want to look. And then it will be there. Yeah, that's important. So now let's try again. Run this. If it goes into the yearly subfolder now. What was this mixed content thing? Oh, interesting. Let's again add image. Bam. Yes. It went to a yearly folder. Great. From Kung Fu. Okay. Amazing. Let's copy all that stuff and let's commit all that stuff. Because this was like some, yeah. Scroll editing. Okay. This is the work on scroll editing state. Yes. We're adding this save media file request. Definitely. Active state, removed lock. That's good. Saved media file, new file. Yes, that's our matter. That's the request that will. Yeah. Enums. Hold on. Before we do that, save media file. This is in a file called save media file, but this should be save media file RR because this is request response. Yeah. And G. Okay. Yes. Let's add this enums. File manager definitely adding. This is our temporary. Yes. Okay. Yes. New paths in data structure. Data locator creating new paths as well. Yeah, file manager being installed, removed some log, and scroll editing state handling save media file requests. Good. All these we're committing. See work. Selected image is successfully copied into the media. Okay. Good. So now break to have some tea. Yep. Meow. And welcome to the other side of the cut. Now we will continue since we're loading properly the image. There was the question of then like rendering it in the node. So we had to write a custom component for TipTap, which we are using to render nodes. So TipTap is a very cute thing built on top of oh, how is it called? It's actually very important because sometimes I feel like it was a mistake to be even using TipTap instead, because it's like a higher level thing. It like gives you a lot of components, make it easier, but it is built on top of Prose Mirror. Prose Mirror is a very cool thing which lets you build like these rich text editors on the web, and it's exactly what, you know, editing notes in Sanctuary is about. Yeah. And maybe I should have just used Prose Mirror, but you know, in one day it can be rewritten. So like TipTap is a thing built on top of Prose Mirror, which makes the process like absolutely way even simpler. And so for this we need to have like a special like a media image component, and I'm still working on it, so I think I won't be talking about it so much now because there's still things to understand. I will come back to it. I'm making quite nice notes on it, so I will be able to like properly explain this as well, because yeah, I've learned quite a lot while writing this component. But now there is an important other thing that I want to talk about, which is what I talked with Chatty here. Chatty named it very nicely. It is the idea to like you know, planning for a graceful death of this project, because for now currently, even though quite a bunch of my friends have key to Sanctuary and who don't know it, I'm absolutely certain no one is really like using it so far. Like maybe they made like a single or two test notes, but no one's making notes here apart from me. But this might change in future when Sanctuary gets more advanced and like, I don't know, and lets you make it more like your own home. Because I guess for now it can feel a little bit like I don't know, it's very my thing. But I don't know, maybe someone else would really likes this aesthetics as well, so they could feel at home here as well with their notes, hopefully. Because yeah, I put quite a lot of care into that. But yeah, in future it will be important you can change this environment, so you can be in totally different place for your notes. But this will take a while. But the other thing is like planning for the graceful death of the project. So it is very possible that Sanctuary won't explode as like an extremely successful project that I will be able to create a company around and pass it on further in future. This would be great. I would love that, but it might not happen. And also, since I'm using Unity, it's rather impossible to make it properly open source. So these two things taken together, it is possible that this project will die at some moment. I mean, everything will die sooner or later, but this might die sooner than later. For example, if I die now, it's like done. So, but that will, okay, tiny divergence. It would be lovely to have some proper fans in this project, like some proper fans, but not something crazy, and then like fully fucking switch to like Godot and make it like an open source project. This could be like, if I lived long, this could be a nice like end of like later part of my life project. Fully switch it to open source and just like let it go. This would be amazing. But for now, I'm very grateful that Unity made it possible for me to make this insane thing, in my own eyes insane, alone. And so, planning for the graceful death. So already like TipTap, this note editor thing, lets you export your notes into like a JSON format or HTML format. So JSON format, maybe they have some example here. In my opinion, this is something like, you know, okay, let's talk about it from a different side. So when you have Sanctuary, it is saving all your notes into your documents folder and Sanctuary magic box. Am I in the proper camera? Yes. Sanctuary magic box. and here there's your username, some other stuff, but there's your data here and your notes, and your notes are in these yearly folders, and they're HTML files. Because if Sanctuary dies, your notes should, in my opinion, remain readable, and JSON is not at all a human readable format. It's like good for machine parsing, but you know, it looks like a JSON example. So you can see how JSON looks like. So I don't know, JSON looks like this. You have brackets, you have like fields and stuff, tables. It's completely not a text readable thing. And also TipTap lets you export to HTML. And HTML is much nicer, because then look, you have this file, HTML node, and you can just like press on it, and it's opening in a text editor. But normally on your system it would probably open with your browser, and see, that's the node. It's a perfectly readable thing for you, which is there. So even if Sanctuary dies, you can very easily read your nodes. So that was very important for me. So that's why it's in the end serialized into HTML file. When you look into that HTML file, there's some weird things happening here. It's not perfectly readable, but if you know what it is readable. You can just discard this script part of this file. Is basically the data that's used in the 3D world of Sanctuary, which you can completely discard if Sanctuary would die, but your HTML node is here. It is readable, but it's obviously completely readable if you just open it with like a browser. So that's the thing. So in terms of like preparations for the graceful death of the project, there's some other considerations that could be done. Currently I'm splitting the nodes. Whenever you create a node, it will be put in a yearly folder. I think I will make a migration that actually they will be put in monthly folders, so one layer deeper, because in a year you can still have so many nodes, and if you would come back to it later and have to go through these folders, I think it would be useful to have like the monthly folders here. They wouldn't be like month names, I think they would be more likely numbers, but they would be separated monthly. And then the other important thing with this component for showing images in your nodes that I'm working on is that there is the question of like, since I went for these attempts to make your node easily readable as this HTML file in the end, and now I want the images in those nodes, it is important that these images also properly display here in this looking at in this browser view of your node, like here. So I will need to write more code here and there, understand it a tiny bit better, how to do that. I have a vague idea. Chatty is very helpful with this. Yeah, so we'll be coming back to that. So the graceful dev, making your files readable for you, the user of Sanctuary, and easily accessible after even the project like completely fails, doesn't want to start, nothing, that your nodes are there safe on your disk, yours, and that it doesn't burn your data. Yeah, and that's one of the things here. The other thing is, I won't be coming into it, but also Sanctuary is doing one more important step to protect your data with tracking your files with Git, but that's another topic. Yeah, I think I wanted to talk about this. Now I need to do some more like kind of research, coding, but let's add to the to-do list that we want to features. So we will want to also graceful dev preparations, monthly node subfolders migration. Let's just make it general, because maybe I will have some other ideas for this that we need to do. Definitely monthly node separation. And the second thing was images. Setting relative paths in src emg tags. Okay, so that will need to be done as well. And yeah, okay. Was there something more? No, because to these nodes I will come back once I have a solid understanding of all of it. Okay? Yeah. So potentially this is a good buy. Maybe not. It's 11:13. And since I just can't sleep, maybe I should just stay awake longer and just work on this stuff. It's important. And since if I can't sleep, what's the point? I might as well work. So, and then maybe I will properly get tired and I will finally sleep. Yeah. Hey. Bye.